Hello, I'm Andrew Pritchard. Thank you for watching today's Canada Regional Forecast, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, I'm starting off with a tidbit here, just north of the Canadian Prairies, or quite a bit north of the Canadian Prairie region here, where there was a potential tornado touchdown in Fort Smith in the Northwest Territories, way up here, just a couple of days ago. And there's been some controversy there, no actual determination whether this was a tornado or straight line wind damage from a powerful thunderstorm in that area. Apparently there were videos that circulated on social media, Facebook or Twitter, with swirling debris showing up. But again, no confirmation one way or another. And I did some digging. I searched as good as I could on Twitter and YouTube and on Facebook, and I couldn't find anything from this specific event. So if you saw something or you got some information there, or on the outside chance you live in the area, go ahead and send that information my way. I've actually got my email address at the end of this video, so skip ahead there. I would love to see it. I love this kind of thing. I'd love to get my hands on some kind of imagery here so I could maybe try and dissect what actually happened here. But just something a little interesting as we do head into severe weather season in this region. Here's some of the images of the damage that came out of there that I did see from a couple of the news stories here with some of the tree damage and damage to buildings in the areas, and obviously this truck's taking some damage from probably a tree that fell on the back end of it there. There is a low risk of some severe weather in the area here. This would be the day one severe weather outlook from Environment Canada, highlighting a moderate risk here of some isolated severe storms across parts of Alberta, along the Front Range, and then parts of northern Alberta and far, kind of a far corner, northwest corner of Saskatchewan as well. Then we look ahead to tomorrow. This would be the day two outlook here, and also showing the risk for some strong storms across parts of central Alberta. We'll go ahead and look here at the seeding progress here, which is nearly completed across the Canadian Prairie region, but then also look at the soil moisture. This is satellite-derived soil moisture here, looking at a percent difference from average. And we're watching some dry conditions here, especially across southern Saskatchewan, also parts of southern Manitoba, but dry conditions do extend over here into the Alberta portion of the southern prairies as well, but only running about 2 to 5% below average there, so certainly not on the order of magnitude of this, a little bit further to the east. The week one precipitation anomalies forecast here from the GFS long-range model shows wetter than average conditions showing up here from central Alberta into northern Saskatchewan and Manitoba, with near average conditions expected over the southern prairie region for the most part. Looking ahead to week two, so this would be June 11th through the 18th. Wetter than average conditions expected along the Front Range, drier across central portions of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, with near average to perhaps wetter than average across the southern portions, the southern prairies there. We shift back to an average or an active pattern here across the central United States, where we obviously don't want any more rainfall here. We could definitely stand to take a week or two without rain in a lot of these areas. Temperature anomalies for the next 5 days, so taking us through June 9th. Still dealing with the effects of some of this very warm air across the southern prairies here, especially southern Saskatchewan and Manitoba. The cooler air beginning to sink into Manitoba or to Alberta at this point over the next 5 days. But as we jump ahead, looking at now June 10th to June 14th, those cooler anomalies really taking over much of the southern prairie region here, the Canadian prairies, trending cooler than average. Here again, June 10th through June 14th. And the reason for that, here is this big trough that's going to continue to amplify over the region, taking on that U shape as I go ahead and play this out. We see another reinforcing trough come in from the Pacific Northwest here later in the frame. This would be towards the mid to late week. I'll go ahead and time this out for you. We begin to see that next trough, which is going to bring a chance for more thunderstorms, more severe weather to parts of the Canadian prairies here as we get into Friday and Saturday, and I'll highlight some of those risks as well. But that is the reason this trough here, kind of multi-layered, but keeping things a bit cloudy, cooler, and more active in terms of precipitation as that ridge begins to lift off to, or scoot off to the east, taking the warm and dry conditions along with it. So we'll go ahead and we'll click through time here with the precipitation forecast from the European model. We'll go ahead and let this reset here early next week, or early this week. I apologize here. So looking at the overnight Tuesday night now, we're watching some rain falling well off to the north. We're also watching for the chance for maybe some scattered showers and storms across portions of Alberta. As we let this go ahead and play forward just slightly, I'll get into Wednesday evening now, starting to see an area of low pressure develop across southern Alberta, again bringing chances for scattered storms, maybe a strong storm or two to portions of southern or central Alberta during the Wednesday afternoon and evening hours. As we head into Thursday and then early Friday morning, we'll start to see a more substantial area of low pressure developing organizing across parts of Saskatchewan and eventually Manitoba. This will begin to lift into the region, parts of southern Manitoba on Saturday, bringing some rain to the area. But then another area of low pressure beginning to organize near the Canada and U.S. border, as well as we get into Friday night and Saturday morning. Here we go now, midday Saturday. Again, subject to change slightly. We'll have another update for you on Friday where we can kind of hammer in on the weekend impacts, but just kind of showing you that the more significant precipitation, the more organized storm systems holding off till later in the week towards the weekend. So this would be, again, Saturday midday. This is when we'd be watching for the potential for maybe some severe weather across southern Manitoba associated with that. But then as this thing begins to deepen and kind of lift off to the northeast, maybe seeing enough cold air on the backside of that to get some snow across far northern Saskatchewan and far northern Manitoba as well. And we'll have to, again, take a closer look at that as we get into the weekend update here midday on Friday. But this looks like a much stronger storm system, again, bringing the chance for severe weather on the south, maybe some snow on the north side of that. Total precipitation here, looking at Alberta, we'll go ahead and go through the week. Let me jump back here and let this kind of loop out, and you'll see the heavier precipitation coming later on in the week. Total precipitation getting us through Sunday, so all the way through the weekend. The corridor of the heaviest precipitation going to be right here in central Alberta, where we're talking about upwards of maybe 30 to maybe 40 millimeters of precipitation. Off to the south, going to be a little bit more scattered in nature, especially across the high production regions here of southern Alberta. Maybe higher precipitation across the Front Range here, but again, as we talk about the Canadian Prairie region here, going to be scattered in nature, talking about scattered showers and thunderstorms with more widespread precipitation being off to the north. Your high temperatures, we're going to watch this cool down begin to settle in here. Here are your Tuesday high temperatures with mid-20s to the south and the lower to mid-teens off to the north. Mid-20s again in the south on Wednesday. We're getting to cool off slowly as we get into Thursday. And then Friday, really seeing the effects of that storm system moving through, bringing cooler temperatures, single digits across much of Alberta, with teens in the southern quarter, over the high production regions here of the Canadian Prairies in Alberta. And then your Saturday high temperatures right around 10 to 15 degrees Celsius across a big portion of southern and western Alberta. Shifting off to the east, looking at Saskatchewan and Manitoba, here is your total precipitation here over the next 5 days, taking you all the way through the weekend. Seeing heavy precipitation off to the north, but then also a corridor of some heavier precipitation forecast here across portions of, this will be southeastern Saskatchewan and then parts of southern and central Manitoba. This is something, though, that's going to be subject to change. As we talk about this corridor right here, the exact placement of that is definitely not set in stone. Just take the theme here. We'll be watching for a corridor of heavier rain as a result of some of the showers and storms, perhaps some severe storms across the region, Friday and Saturday across that area. But where exactly that sets up, not going to be exactly clear at this range. It's something that check back for my updates here midday on Friday for who is going to see the heaviest rain. But again, just take the theme here. Heavier, more widespread precipitation over northern portions of Saskatchewan and Manitoba, with late in the week opportunities for more significant precipitation across southern portions of Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Looping this out, again, you can see the more widespread heavy precipitation off to the north early in the week, with this little round showing up here towards the end of the loop. That's Friday and Saturday, which I'll give you more details on as we get a little bit closer. Let's go ahead and take a look at your high temperatures here. So Tuesday high temperatures, we'll again watch the cool down set in as we get to the later part of the week. Across the Canadian Prairies, mid-20s for the most part for your Tuesday high temperatures, near 30 or slightly above in far southern Manitoba. Warmer as we get into the day on Wednesday with mid to upper 20s across the Canadian Prairies. And then your Thursday high temperatures warmer still. This would be the peak of the heat here. Low 30s possible across southern Saskatchewan and southern Manitoba. That heat begins to pivot off to the east as we get into Friday. This will be your warmest day in southern Manitoba. Friday afternoon high temperatures in the low to middle 30s. And here you go, watching that cooler regime settle in. Saturday high temperatures. This is as we'll be watching for the chance for maybe some severe storms across this region as the cooler air mass begins to move in. The clash of those air masses leading to the development of showers and storms. Some of that could be severe. Here's where I wanted to put my contact information. I'm not going to do this every time, and we're looking into a way that we can actually set something up here so Eric and I can both be contacted with your weather-related tidbits or questions. But if you've got information on the Fort Smith tornado or potential tornado or some of the other severe storms that dot the area over the next week or so, send them to me either on Twitter. I can be found at @SkyDrama, or through email works just as well, andrew.pritchard@nutrien.com. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to see what you've got to offer. And again, we'll look at ways that we can make this a little bit more interactive as we head into the future. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Thursday morning Ag Forecast video, and I'll have your next Canadian Prairie Regional update for you right here midday on Friday. Have a great day.